Hi, Alicia Burns, doing the discussion on ethical violations and board discipline. The most common ethical violation, according to Cowan and others, in 2021 for counselors practicing in the state of Virginia, is having a sexual or romantic relationship with clients. Sections A5A through E of the American Counseling Association Code of Ethics of 2014 specifically prohibits any type of sexual or romantic relationship with a current or former client or their family members. They're also prohibited from engaging in any type of virtual relationship with current or former clients. The most common types of ethical violations that I found after that were failure to complete continuing education requirements, being arrested, having dual relationships, or being impaired. Those were all, again, in Cowan and others 2021. I reviewed the Virginia Department of Health Professions Board of Counseling website and found some recent case decisions. The first one that I found was a married female licensed professional counselor who had a romantic sexual relationship with a client. She was a new clinician, had only been practicing for about a year. She stated in the documentation that she had never experienced countertransference before and was going through a stressful season in her life. Since then, she's taken continuing education courses. She started her own counseling for herself and was really apologetic about her actions. She moved from Virginia and is now practicing in North Carolina. She was placed on an 18-month probation. Any employer that she worked for had to be aware of her situation and receive a copy of the public order. She also had to enter into strict supervision, where she was getting 2 hours per week for that. She had to remit quarterly reports to the board, including some self-reporting. Any violation would result in further disciplinary measures, but it looked like, thankfully, she complied with all the actions and her license was reinstated in full in January 2025 with no restrictions. The ACA Code 2014 that was violated in this case was A5A, a sexual romantic relationship with a client, and C2G, which was impairment. The next case that I reviewed was another female licensed professional counselor. Prior to her becoming licensed, she had significant issues with alcohol misuse, including some DUIs, showing up at work intoxicated. She had an accident. So years down the road, when she did go through the licensure process for counseling, she failed to disclose to the board the issues that she previously had with alcohol, and was dishonest in her responses to the board. So her license was suspended, and the suspension was stayed while she complied with specific requirements of the Virginia Health Practitioners Monitoring Program. She violated Section 18 VAC 11520, 140A, 2, 7, and 8 of the Virginia Code. So to date, she's still under the requirements of this order. So if she violates any of those, further disciplinary actions will take place. It looked to me like the code, the values of fidelity and veracity, being honest in dealings with others, are definitely of issue in this case, just very unethical behavior. In Section C2G of the ACA Code of 2014, impairment is addressed. It states that counselors need to be aware of their own mental health. They need to be proactive in seeking support from supervisors. They need to get their own services if necessary. They also should not provide services to others when they are impaired. It's interesting because both of the cases that I reviewed, impairment was an issue. I think of Paul and Timothy, and Paul mentored Timothy throughout the scriptures, guiding him, encouraging him, seeing him through trials. He refers to him as son in 1 Timothy 1:18, and then again as brother in Philemon 1:1. I wonder what it would have been like for Timothy to go through all he went through without Paul. We're just not meant to go through this life alone. And so even in the beginning of the Bible in Genesis, God said it is not good for man to be alone in Genesis 2:18. So having a supervisor or other mentors, a strong family support system is so important. People in your church, people that can speak truth and support you when you're going through difficulties in life. I know, being a little older, I know that difficulties are going to come, and it's just an incredible blessing to have people to walk through them with you. I also appreciate the board regulatory process, knowing that if you do happen to get off track, that they are willing to give you steps that you can take to get back on track. My hope is that living a life of faith and seeking the Lord, walking with Him, and taking the steps that I need to take to have people in my life that keep me accountable, that I will make wise and ethical decisions. But I hope that if I do have to respond to a violation, that I can respond responsibly and do whatever I need to do to make it right. Thank you.